The valley was peaceful. The sun warmed the hills, birds fluttered between trees, and animals roamed without fear. In one quiet corner, Kluk, a small white chicken with soft feathers and tired wings, pecked the ground outside her humble coop. She was not special, not fast, not strong. She simply lived her days in silence. Then the earth began to tremble. It started with a hum, low and strange, like the land was holding its breath. Then came the roar, deep, violent, unstoppable. Trees twisted, stones flew, cracks split open in the dirt like angry mouths. Nests fell, homes crumbled, and fear swept through every living creature. Cluck was thrown from her feet, the world, spinning in dust and noise. When the ground finally stilled, nothing looked the same. Smoke rose, cries echoed, a caw, and from under a beam, a soft whimper reached her ears. Bruised, shaking, and confused, Cluck stood up. She turned toward the sound. A baby fox, trapped beneath rubble, blinked at her with wide, frightened eyes. Cluck didn't think she moved. With her beak, with her wings, with all the strength she had, she began to dig. That was the moment everything changed. The storm had passed, but it left behind devastation. The valley lay broken, scattered with fallen trees and torn earth. What was once a sanctuary had become a grave. Smoke choked the air, and cries of the wounded lingered like ghostly music. Cluck moved through it all, quiet but determined. She pulled a lamb from beneath a gate, nudged to trembling mice from a cracked pipe, and sheltered a duckling with her wings. Her body hurt. Her feathers were streaked with mud and blood, but she didn't stop. Her courage wasn't loud, it was steady. She offered no speeches, only help, and others began to follow. A badger, once hidden in fear, emerged to lift branches beside her. The old goat carried debris with his horns. Even the owl flew low, delivering soft moss to warm the weak. They watched. Cluck, not because she ordered them, but because she reminded them what it meant to care as she moved from one cry to another. Hope began to flicker. The valley was no longer silent. It was singing again, Moken voices. Yes, but voices rising together. All because of a chicken who refused to look away. Everywhere Cluck walked, life returned. Not through magic or might, but through presence. She didn't save animals with strength. She saved them with love. She pushed aside her own pain to lift others. She gave up warmth for the cold. She stayed awake to watch over the small. She shielded the weak with her wings and shared her grain with the hungry. Animals began calling her the feather with fire. They didn't say it aloud, but in glances, in grateful nods. Not just for survival, but for hope and cluck. She never once called herself brave. She simply moved from one soul to another, one broken burrow to the next, because to her, they weren't strangers. They were family. And she would not leave family behind. The rain returned on the third night, cold, heavy, unrelenting. Beneath a fallen tree, a rabbit mother wailed. One of her kits was missing. The earth had swallowed part of their burrow, and no one dared enter the crumbling ground. "It's too late," the owl said. "Too dangerous," warned the badger. But Cluck stepped forward. Her eyes met the mother's. No words, just a nod. She disappeared into the dark. Minutes passed. Then hours. The animals waited beneath the rain, listening, hoping, then a rustle. From the gap, the rabbit kid emerged, tiny and terrified. But alive, they cheered. They ran forward, but Cluck did not follow. She had stayed, curled beneath the roots, her wings wrapped around the baby, protecting it until her very last breath. Dawn broke gently over the valley, washing the land in pale gold. The quake was over. The rains had stopped. The rebuilding began, not just of homes, but of hearts. Beneath the old cedar tree, they laid Cluck to rest. The goat placed her favorite bell beside the soil. The owl carved one word into the bark above her grave: brave. And around her resting place, animals stood shoulder to shoulder, silent and full of reverence. She had no crown, no monument, but she had something, stronger memory. Wherever young animals trembled, stories of Cluck would be told. Of the chicken who could not fly, but lifted them all. And when storms came again, and fear returned, the animals would not run, they would remember her feathers, her fire, her name, Cluck, the smallest savior the valley had ever known.